Good morning, hello world, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to another video. So we have very nice HP laptop. This one has an issue with the keyboard and it's not working on all keys. So I have done some checks already off stream, and it does appear to be the keyboard that's causing the issue. So the keyboard's been ordered, it has arrived from our friends over in China, and we're going to be installing the keyboard today. This is a HP laptop. It's the Envy x360 convertible. Specifically, the model is the 15-B for Bertie, P for Papa, 007, N for November, A for Apple. So that's the model. Very nice laptop. It is the convertible one, like I say, with the touchscreen and so on. So I have already started disassembling some of the bits. I've got the back cover off, just taken some of the screws and so on out, and I thought, why not give it a shot at doing a recording for this as well. So we're going to give this a try. So we're going to take the board out. I have started with some of the screws on here and just popping some of the cables out and whatnot. So just going to make sure things like the battery are out, which would normally sit here. That's already been disconnected, obviously, and then we're going to be digging all the way through to the underside to get to the keyboard. I have done a keyboard before, not on this specific model, but I have done one in the past, and I do remember with this type of keyboard it's quite a big task. Everything is out, everything to be done, and yeah, it does prove to be, I won't say challenging, time consuming is probably the right word for it. And we're gonna hopefully get the keyboard out, put a new keyboard in, and see where it goes from there. Hopefully it'll sort it out with all the work that's required. There is another screw down there holding the Wi-Fi card in, which is always good when they start putting additional little screws everywhere, just to fool us and see what's what. So that's now loose. That's loose. Look at this. And as if by magic, we've got one there. Very nice little motherboard on here. Does need a bit of a clean on the fans, which we'll do as well for the laptop to make sure it's breathing okay. Good airflow, because as we all know, it's the heat build-up which starts to kill things. So small CPU cooler, GPU cooler, so obviously dedicated cards and so in here. So nice laptop, nice laptop. So we'll just pop that to one side. We'll keep that safe and sound on here. So we're now presented with the underside of the keyboard tray. We are going to take the speakers out just to make it easier, and we will try and get that. Oh, there we go. Those are the speakers. Hi-fi stereophonic speakers. So now what we do need to do is just take this little daughter board out, just so we're working with a blank canvas more than anything else, so we're not going to get anything too mixed up or lost. So we'll get that on there. Hinges for the screen are the next job. So we'll just pop those off just so we can detach the screen. So when we are working, we're working with a minimal amount attached, just to make it easier for moving things and working. And obviously, because we'll be using the soldering iron, we don't want to cause any damage to the screen. So once you've got the hinges unscrewed, just give it a gentle lift and then drop back down. Both hinges will just pop up slightly, and then we can just lift them up. They are pretty stiff, and then we can take the keyboard out, and then we can just move the screen to one side, and again we'll pop that over to one side to ensure we've got that nice and safe. I'm going to take the touchpad cable off as well, nice and gently. We'll put a little bit of IPA on that as well, just to loosen it up a little with the glue, so we're not putting too much stress on the actual. There we go. A little bit of IPA goes a long way, and it'll just soften the glue and just means we can take it out and put it to one side without any big issues. This one here is for, I believe, the touch panel light, the backlight on the keyboard. That's going to be replaced, I would imagine, with the new keyboard. If it's got, yeah, there's a cable with it, so we will be careful, but we don't need to be ultra careful like we was with the other one, because it is going to be swapped out. So what we're going to have to do now is, on all of these areas round here, there are little grey plastic soldered tabs, some black ones up the side here, and they're all around the keyboard. So we are going to have to cut those off to be able to get to the keyboard. Looks like on this one we're going to have to take the touchpad out as well. So we'll just take the screws out for that. From memory, these are one of the more in-depth things that I would attempt on a laptop. Change that screwdriver a bit because they've put a different type of screw in there, even though it looks the same. There we go. The iFixit screwdriver kit that I'm using is excellent, and they've gone and put an extremely tight one in there. And for whatever reason, the correct screwdriver bit isn't getting that out, so let's try a flathead. There we go. Just needed that little bit of a snap to start it moving. Just put those back in the respective places where they go in the kit, or should I say, I'll just put them anywhere in the kit. Yeah, the iFixit kit that I've got has every bit of screwdriver you could ever need. So that's the touchpad out of that one, and we'll just put that to one side as well. So the next job is to start taking these I've got a couple of different blades that we are going to attempt to use. Just grab one of the flat-headed blades from my storage. We'll just get this this membrane lifted, because I'm not too sure whether there's going to be additional plastic welded points underneath, and we just want to see if we can get this lifted. It does come with one on the back, so I'm not sure whether we'll need to replace this, but we'll try and take it off intact. And I'm just going to give it a spray of IPA. You'll be able to get under there. A little bit of gentle heat might go a long way with this, so we'll just put a bit of temperature down there. We'll get the temperature not right down. This is the Atan ST862D rework station. So we'll just turn that on, and we'll just see if we can just put a bit of warmth into this membrane to help lift it off. Not too much, just enough to soften the glue. Hopefully we'll be able to get it off in one piece, not cause too much distress to it. But you know what they say, best laid plans. This glue's incredibly sticky. Like, manufacturers don't want us to take these off. Yeah, there we go. Ripped it already. But it's got to come off. Just put that back in the stand for 2 minutes. Probably do all this to find there's no other plastic welds under here anyway, but better safe than sorry, because there's no point in me doing all this to find out there is and then damaging something which we won't be replacing. Yeah, I was right, there are ones hidden underneath as well, but I think they're all in these cutouts, so we're not going to bother taking that off any further. And we are going to have a look at some of these blades, what we've got to do this. Now, the blade that I was planning on using, which is the flat-headed blade, this should give us a good, see if I can zoom in a little bit. This is literally a flat blade with cutting edge along the front profile. This should enable us to get into some of these flat ones here and cut them off whole, because we do need to be keeping them. So we can just slice them off there. For the others, we're going to be using a mixture of these. These arrived a couple of days ago. Slightly different profile, as you can see. It's a 45-degree angle cutting edge. And then we'll have the conventional blades, such as that, just to get into the, maybe the recessed ones, because some of these are recessed along here. So we're going to pop a blade on and let's get moving. Not sure what the weather's like today for anybody watching this, but it's nice and sunny in the UK today. Always makes you feel better when you've got a bit of sun outside. So we're going to try and keep these little black things that we take off, just because we're going to be reusing them at a later stage. So I'm just going to pop them in the tray, just there, and try and slice as many off as neatly and easily as possible. You want a nice clean cut on these if possible, because these are going to be used to refix it back down. And this is just the time consuming part of it all now. Just getting it all in, getting them all cut off, and hopefully remaining with all fingers intact at the end of it. So there is a couple more hiding here. It's a grey one there. First live stream went okay last night, if we are watching these in order. If you're not watching them in order, well, it could have happened 3 months ago. Just got to be very careful not to because we're pushing down. Not to let the knife blade slip, gentle rocking left to right as I'm pushing through, but just not let the knife blade slip, and also go too far and either damage something else in the laptop, hence why we stripped it all down, or more importantly, damage yourself by doing this. Reason why we're keeping these is because we're going to be reusing them afterwards, so it's the same plastic coming off as what's going on. So again, it just tends to mix a bit better with the plastic that I'm taking off, rather than using an additional one. What is very good for it as well, I found on the last one that I did, is using one of the plastic spudgers to remelt and reshave pieces off to use as extra plugs or weld points if needed. So yeah, all I'm literally doing here is I'll get one of the grey ones and you'll be able to see what is coming off. They're just literally round circles of plastic. So put it against the black glove. It's a round circle of plastic. Works a bit like a screw head. When they are assembled at factory, the flat heads are actually raised pegs. They put the keyboard in place, and then a machine will come down, heat them all up evenly, and it just melts the top out, a bit like a rivet would, and just melts it down and holds it in place to fix it down. Nice and easy for the manufacturers, just a pain if you need to change your keyboard afterwards. But as I say, the good thing is if you can manage to keep the plastic that you're taking off, it is a lot better, because it's the same mix of whatever they're using, and it just tends to fix a lot better. This is a good example because there's a peg here what didn't get melted when they did it. We just relocated that to the storage place called the floor, but it was only a little tiny peg anyway. But there are some pegs which are still locating pegs on here which didn't get melted, part of the installation process at factory. So you will see some of those as well. Just like you get a little locating peg when you're putting a lot of components into computers. That's the type of thing that it'll be. I would recommend wearing gloves for this, mainly because it does give you that little bit of protection, because the last thing we want to do is injure ourselves. So this will be, I think, my seventh video, seventh outing on YouTube. Still really new to it, still learning, still practicing, still so much to understand and learn, and seeing where the journey takes me, but enjoying it so far, enjoying it. So I've gone through and I've taken the ones I can get off with this one. I'm now going to change over and try to use this type of blade now, because some of them are slightly recessed, so I'm not going to get I'm not going to be able to get a flat blade in because it is underneath. So again, it's just a case of working with what we've got. So we have got 1, 2, 3, 4 down this side, another one at the bottom there. then we've certainly got some recessed ones here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 recessed ones there, and then another few down there, and then it looks like that might be a couple more up here as well. So we're going to make a start on these at this side. These are a bit trickier with this because there's a lot less space to work in, and you're going sideways with it all as well, so it's always a little bit more tricky just to do everything. Thought I would just grab a quick drink with the disturbance. So we're getting back to doing the little trimming on here, and again this is just a bit of a slow task. The unfortunate thing is when you're using this type of blade, it's difficult to get all the bits and bobs to stay in one place. Just swap back to this one a second. I am doing this from home. Just got a little tiny room that I'm doing it in, so you will hear different background noise, and obviously like everybody we all get different noises during the day, from visitors to postmen or mailmen or anything as such. Where did that go? There we go. I tried to escape, but unfortunately didn't quite make it to Narnia, which is where it was heading. So from the looks of it, I think there's one more there. Oh no, that's one I've already done. Look at that. I've seen some YouTubers go poof and get it all down. I wish I could do it that quick. As if by magic. These are going to be really tricky. These are really, oops, there we go. Tight ones to come off here. Shave it off the best I can. Yeah, I am wearing safety glasses. I call them safety glasses. I'm wearing glasses. Swapping for a little bit of tea. Not a coffee person on an afternoon, more of a tea person. Coffee on a morning, tea in an afternoon, and nothing after maybe 3-4 o'clock. Try and keep the caffeine intake reasonably well low. I have noticed when I'm doing the micro soldering, if I have a coffee when I'm soldering or 20 minutes before, the caffeine causes my hands, there we go, hands to shake. Well, actually breaking the end of the blade off. Like so. Mental note to do that in the future. Look at that. One last one to go. My dog in the background agreeing with me. There we go. That one did go to Narnia. We've managed to find it as well. So we should end up with a collection of those little plastic things in there, and the remainder scattered around the room. So I will just give it a double check just to make sure I've got them all off. I have tried to spot them all, so work around the perimeter just to make sure everything is cut off. There's one there which is a little bit not cut off as well as it could be, so we'll just try and ease that one out as well. Maybe swap to that blade. There we go. Just shave it off a little bit. I think that's about it. So let's just pick these last few up which have made a break for freedom. Can't get away that easy. There we go. And just put a bit of pressure on a couple of the keys just to see if it wants to persuasively come out. I think this is going to be the one where there's a protective shield and then keyboard needs cutting out separately, and I think I'm going to be right. So we'll just ease this up. We don't want to be damaging this frame because we'll be using this frame again, because this one goes over the top of the keyboard membrane. There's one hiding right down here. Right, probably the worst one you could imagine to get to. This is going to be tricky. That might be useful to use. Let's see what we'll do. A broken blade was useful, but I have got another knife. I'm going to try this 45-degree one. This might just get into the little nooks and crannies down there. This is the 45-degree one because it's a very tight space down there. Yeah, I think it's probably going to be the best one, or best hope I've got. There we go. Just taking the head off it. Try and save that best I can. That's doing a good job actually. Doing a really good job. So back round lifting the membrane. You can see it's popping off nice and evenly around. That's my burglar alarm. Obviously that's a herd of dragons outside ready to attack the house. So the dog thought it would warn me as the onslaught of zombies coming. Or that's what she probably thinks it is. In reality it's probably a leaf blowing outside. But hey, that's what dogs are good at. Getting excited and protecting us. Missed another one just there. Swap to that one. But if we're all like dogs, we won't go far wrong. Always happy to see you. Never complain. And such a simple life. Food, water, play and attention. Won't go far wrong with that. Ah, there's another one of those little ones hiding right down here. Said I would always miss one. And this is, again, this is one of the low reset ones right down. With these being grey on a silver chassis on a grey case, they are difficult to spot and see. So as you can see, it's now coming off. We will attempt to just feed these cables through gently. We have the cover off, so we're going to retain that because that's going to be used again. So we have now more sat around the keyboard. These are smaller, so a little bit more tricky to get to, but we are looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, about 30 or so on here. I'm just going to see if the keyboard will release. No, it's not releasing, so we're going to have to cut them out. So there's about another 30. So again, not majorly difficult, just time consuming, and I would say it's fiddly rather than difficult. So again, just keep his hands out of the way. We're going to put those to a slightly different area. I'm going to modify the glove because it's stopping me doing it. So just being very careful not to, because it's a different type of plastic. This is slightly harder by the feel of it. So when you're pushing the blade to cut through, it suddenly just releases and goes through. We've got a couple there, and just nice gentle pressure just until we slice through the pin. I find it helps sticking your tongue out when you're doing this, hence why there's no face cam. Nobody wants to see that. And obviously, gritting your teeth and squinting your eyes also works. Probably doesn't help that I've got sausage fingers. They're not really made for delicate, dainty work. A little bit, a little refreshment just to keep me going. It's a long old job, this. And tea always tastes better in a good cup. What a cracking cup. Look it up on YouTube. Unfortunately, you've got to make your own tea. If anybody wants to put any comments down about what they would like to see, I'm open for all suggestions or ideas. I have another computer which has got a no power at all since the RAM was swapped in it. It's DDR5 RAM, it's a laptop, and it's one from a friend of mine. He has changed his RAM or tried to upgrade his RAM, put his RAM in, did disconnect the battery, says, but didn't disconnect BIOS, didn't discharge the board with the holding the power button down for 10 seconds prior to that, and put his new RAM in, went to switch it on, and it doesn't switch on. Took the RAM out, put his old RAM back in, and still no power. So hoping to have a look at that, diagnose that, and see how I get on with that. I'm hoping it's something straightforward. I'm hoping he's not done too much damage, because it is a new laptop, DDR5 RAM, what's in there, and it's a gaming laptop, an expensive one. So I'm hoping that A, it's something that's not major, and B, it is not killed something it shouldn't have killed. But it's always a good practice or a good idea to just try and discharge everything. So we've got those off where we've got them. I'm just putting a little bit of pressure on from underneath the board, just pushing at the keys, and these should start popping off. It's really important not to force it too much. If you force it too much, you can snap the intersections of the actual keyboard frame itself. So there's one there that I have missed, so we'll just take the head off that one, and again we'll see how we're going, where we're going, and everything else. I'm just going to take this membrane off because it feels like there's one's stuck underneath here. So this keyboard we are changing, or hoping to get changed. So this will be the backlight onto here. Take that off. I can see the pegs are a bit easier now, so the pegs what I've hoped to have cut off are the ones around here. So that one there is definitely still sticking. I can feel when I'm putting the pressure on from the back. So we'll just see if we can take the head off there just to release it. There we go. And we'll get so far, and then as long as we've done a good enough job, these will all always the case. Missed a little grey one in the corner. Every other one is black. This one's grey, just to catch us out, so we can't see. So that's the keyboard out. So that's the old keyboard and backlight. So I will try and point out the pegs on here. I don't know if you can. I just put that there as a contrast. You can just see the pegs sticking up. These are the pegs which would have been done at factory, and these are the ones where the keyboard will locate, the locating pegs. And can you just see that there? And when the keyboard goes on, same with the metal shroud, what we've already taken off, they locate the keyboard, then a machine will come down and it'll push down onto the respective areas. So we're going to give that a quick wipe down and a quick clean with some of the IPA. So it is just a quick one, just to spruce it up a little bit, just make sure there's nothing too much. I like using the, don't know what they're called around the world, we call them terry toweling, but you know, fibrous, soft cotton, flannel, cloth, things like that, just to do that. It's abrasive enough to clean, but it's very absorbent as well, but it doesn't scratch with being 100% cotton. I said 100% coffee. Whew. My IPA is going to my head. So we'll give it a spray on here, and we'll just give it a clean on this side as well, just to see if we can take some of the grime off there. I've also got my highly top secret fluid that I keep in here. It's a closely guarded secret. And this is wonderful. It's homemade and it takes all types of grease and grime off. As long as you promise not to tell anybody, I will reveal on this stream the magic ingredients. But we'll see what type of job it does first. Just in an old little squirty bottle. It says screen cleaner on it. But that bottle's about 10 years old, something like that. So again, just giving it a clean off for when we put the new keyboard on, it doesn't look like we just stuck it on without any care or attention. But as you can see, it's bringing, can't really see it on camera. I find this better than IPA. IPA is good on certain things, but anything which is kind of dirt based or based around sugary, sweet or things like that, IPA really doesn't dissolve it. So I tend to just use a bit of this. It just helps loosen and dissolve. Dissolve it all. And then IPA, as you can see, it's getting it all off. Then a quick blast of the IPA, just to get rid of any kind of other things which it'll dissolve nicely. And just as a finishing one. And it helps just do it. So this here, even though it's in a screen cleaner bottle, a very old one, I've used variations of this solution for a lot of years for cleaning all different bits and bobs. Don't use it on live electrics, and all it simply is, please don't tell anybody else, is water with a couple of drips of washing liquid, dish soap, what you would clean your plates and cups with, couple of drips, and then a couple of drips of lemon juice in there, and that is all what is in there. You could actually spray it into your mouth. It's, you know, it's safe. Doesn't taste very nice. Obviously, it tastes a little bit salty, so soapy. Sorry, but tiny amount of dish soap in there because you don't want to leave a residue, and a little bit of lemon juice as well. And I use it on surfaces such as this, on cases and whatnot, just to clean it off. And it's also useful if you've got anything which you need to clean off prior to it going in a cleaner or anything like that. So as we can see, it's cleaned up really nicely, apart from that one spot there, which looks to be there we go. I would really as if it was new. We'll just move my now empty cup out of the way because I do feel that we will need the space. This is the keyboard that has arrived. It's obviously two parts. It's the keyboard and the backlight. I had to get this from China, and that is because there was no UK supply of it. They do claim it was new, but yeah, don't think this is new by any stretch of imagination, seeing as it's got marks on it, and you probably won't be able to pick up on the camera, but yeah, I think that has been used. So we will just give that a quick tweak with a little bit of IPA, just to make sure it's got its best chance of working when I do put it in. Wow, don't know if you can see that, but yeah, that was unless they've kept that somewhere they shouldn't keep it, that was rather dirty. Carbon tracks aren't usually that bad. So I'll just put that to one side. Put that to one side. We're just going to offer it up just to make sure it is the direct replacement, and it should be, because I hopefully ordered the right one. Took some time to make sure it was going to be the right one. So it's going to fit in there like so. Still got a mark here what we need to just clean off on one there. You can see it a little bit easier now. It's like that. So that is going to be the right one. I'm just going to clean those two marks off with my magic spray again. I don't know if it's stained plastic or not. Yeah, I think it's actually a mark on the plastic itself. We will use a different, that's hand sanitizer I'm using now. This is just a bottle of hand sanitizer. It's alcohol based hand sanitizer, and I find it works a little bit better because there's other chemicals than straight IPA. IPA is good for a lot of things, and I do use it, but it's nice to have more than one thing that you can turn to and give a shot. Yeah, that's a stain on the plastic there. Just be a bit careful when you clean this. You don't really want to lean on it too hard because you will just end up damaging something. Okay, let's have a go at fitting it. Rinse and repeat to what we did before. So keyboard will go in first, and offer that up just to make sure it's all done. We are going to need a soldering iron to do this, and rather than using my dedicated iron, I do have one that I used before, because obviously we don't want to be using a good iron to melt plastic. No, that's never a good idea. What I find works well on this is just lifting the corner slightly of the keyboard, just off the desk a little bit, and it just gives you a little bit of height rather than the keyboard or the keys sticking out underneath. So you can actually push down on the little plastic tabs and solder them down, or melt them down, should I say, rather than soldering. Okay, this is where it becomes a little bit more time consuming. Yeah, that's getting hot. You get used to soldering irons with a digital display, so when we go back to one of these type of irons with no display, it's always a little bit weird, a little bit strange. It doesn't beep, it doesn't do anything. So all I'm simply going to do is hold that over there. Iron just needs to warm up a little bit more. See if we can give you a bit better view of what I'm doing. So where the plastic pegs came out, so one here for example, where the plastic peg came out, there might just be a little bit of plastic. If not, we'll grab one of the pegs that we cut off, we'll put it over, and we'll simply hold down around it. I had coffee this morning, so my hands are shaking. There we go. Okay. So that plastic now has melted down into that. We just need to make sure, like when you're doing any fitment, that you're not actually using the holes what you need to use somewhere else. So we're not. So as we can see, those pegs go in there, so that was one which just goes on the bottom, that one goes on the bottom, that one goes on the bottom. So some of these will be top ones, some of these will be bottom ones. We just need to go around and fill some of them in to where it was before. Again, not a glamorous job, but hey, somebody's got to do it. So most of these are going to be covered with the shield. Let's see if I can zoom out a little bit so you can see the entire thing. Move across here a little. By the looks of it, this keyboard's slightly different to the other one which was in there, and all the ones which are showing are actually coming through here. So this looks like it sticks over the top. Yeah, that looks to be adhesive. So I'll just get this in the same orientation so I can see how that went. So that one goes into there. That's obviously the space bar at the bottom. And that one just sits over there like so. Let's just move this out of the way because that's just in the way, flapping about. I'll just get a bit of tape on there. Let's just hold the keyboard connector out of the way. Align the keyboard up. I don't want to really pull this too much because I'm not too sure whether that's a membrane or not. It's slightly different to the last one, but it must be because it needs to stick down. So let's those will be the LEDs which are in there. This is just the LED backlight. Just trying to ease that away carefully. Because I don't want to damage anything in case that isn't. It's stuck down really, really well. I don't think that is a. I think that's just a sticker to peel it away so you can hold it up or down. I don't think that's a membrane to actually come off. So we'll leave that down. We will overlay that where it goes. Look at that, lovely. And we will borrow a little bit more of this tape. I use the 3M transport tape. I find this brilliant. It's just adhesive enough to stick things down. It's dead easy to tear in a straight line. Doesn't stretch. It's got enough tack, as I say, to hold things down just as a temporary thing. And because of that, you're not running the risk of putting things like your insulation tape down and things like that, which might not necessarily be the best for doing certain things. So we should now be able to overlay that. And again, these should line up to where we took those cables go through, if we remember. Yeah, and it does. So we just need to now stick these through. Now we know it's aligned correctly. 1, 2. There you go. Sticking my tongue out again because we're concentrating. Post the letter. There we go. Get it aligned. I think if we just pop them out a second, I think I need to take that tape off there, and I would say that probably is then the adhesive to go down there. Don't look brilliant there. Don't look brilliant at all. I'm going to put my scope on a second. I just want to have a quick look at that just to see if that's an issue with the cable. I'm not going to bother yeah, I think it's just creases the cable rather than yeah, it's just creased rather than any damage on it. So we'll just stick that back around there. So I'm pretty confident that that's okay there. So that should now hold it in place. So we just need to pop these back through. Number 1 and number 2, making sure not to disturb the backlight membrane underneath too much. Get those pegs on there, those pegs on there. This is why it was important to take this off carefully, because we don't want to distort it. All the holes seem to be lining up underneath. We're just going to use some of that tape that I had before, just to help hold that in place, just whilst I start plastic welding some of these pegs down. Now the good news is we do have a full plastic peg there, so that's going to be the first one that I do, because that weren't used before. So that's really good. Manufacturers have thought, hey, when people change keyboards, we're going to leave them something what they can do. So that's just holding that down in place. There's 2 more at this side as well, what manufacturers kind of left for us. So we're just going to put a bit of heat on them and squash it down. It works a bit like a rivet, if anybody knows what a rivet gun is. It squashes the head over and just holds it in place. So again, we'll just look for any more which manufacturers kind of left for us, and no, they weren't feeling too generous. It must have been a Wednesday afternoon. They weren't feeling generous that day at all. So they've not left us any more, have they? There you go. So that's just holding it all in place now. So it is going to be a case now of just working through and pushing these down as we go. So we'll put it on a flat surface now. We've got a couple held in place. It's not going to move out of the way. I'm going to try and do not random ones, but I'm going to try and move around and do ones as needed. So maybe alternate and put them on there. So we'll grab, it's a grey, so we'll grab a grey. This might be easier if I just pop them down there. That's them all out. Grab a grey, simply pop it over the hole. Push the metal down into place. Apply some heat to the plastic. Give it a gentle blow. Hold on. Put a couple down here just to hold it in place, temporary ones. This is why we save the plastic, because it just tends to mix better. And hold it in place. So we'll start working around, like I was saying, other places, just to start easing it all into place and getting it all down. Don't need a lot of heat, it's only for a couple of seconds, and then it's just a case of putting enough on there to hold it into place. Doesn't have to look mega neat. It is just a practical fixing solution to hold it down. So we'll get one up here. See if we can make that a little bit closer so you can see what's what. Going to drop that one. So let's zoom in and keep it straight away. So I'm just putting it over the hole, putting some heat down. Let the heat do its job of holding it down. So we've got a couple there, a couple there, a couple there. So it is just going to be a case now of working round and refitting the ones what we've taken out as many as we possibly can until we run out of plastic. So we'll do one at this side. Just make sure the metal membrane is pushed down when you're doing it, because sometimes with the membrane it can just get caught on one of the lugs if it's not quite aligned. So we're best off just doing it like that. So once you get into a roll and a routine, we can start doing it a little bit more. There we go. Just trying to get to autofocus. I've got a couple of black ones up here, so we'll just pick one up on the end of the what's needed, and we'll just try and get that down, melted to the original plastic which is in the hole. Pick a bit more up, get that down. There we go. So we can align the membrane a little bit underneath. So there's one here, which again is a black plastic one. So we'll put that down, pick another piece up. Never seems to go quite as far second time round, but again that's why we kept them all. There we go. One up here. Do this side one. Again, not difficult if you take it a bit at a time, just very time consuming to do. And the good thing is, if you have kept the plastic ones from disassembly, you can just pick it up with the iron, push it back down, give it a bit of a squash, and away you go. So the more we put in now is obviously going to be more and more secure. So we'll try and get every single one of these done and covered, because obviously we want it to have a nice feel. The more we put in and we get them all in, the more tight the keyboard will feel, and you won't get the loose keys or the feeling of loose keys as well. Get another one. I'll put several up there. Just wanted one, so we'll get this one down here. Yeah, so if anybody's got any suggestions on what they would like me to attempt or do, just bearing in mind I am new to this, so please don't go asking me to invent a time machine and travel back in time, because clearly that's week 4, not week 3 of the interdimensional time travels course, and I'm not on there yet. So yeah, if you would like me to attempt desktop motherboards, laptop motherboards, I'll give a graphics card a shot. I've got some projects that I have ordered from AliExpress, which should be turning up shortly. So I'm hoping that once they turn up, we've got a bit more content for maybe some interactive streams and things like that, and maybe some giveaways that I'm looking at maybe doing for subscribers. So please remember to hit the subscribe button if you want your chance to win a £2, €2 DIY soldering kit project. I know it's a big prize, but hey, you only live once. Can't take it with you when you're gone. So I spent two whole euros on a soldering project. I think it's a digital clock, a radio, a spectrum equalizer, a toy airplane, which I'm keen to give a shot at, and a couple of other bits and bobs on there. So yeah, be keen to see how I go with those. These are the more tricky ones because these were cut off a little bit different. These, so we're soldering these through, or plastic welding these through the frame as well. So put a couple of blobs on here because these are a little bit more tricky. Just don't be tempted to put too much heat on this, because if you put too much heat on it, you can damage the membrane. And the last thing we want to do is do all this to find out that we've damaged the membrane. We have to go all the way back through it. So again, with the pieces what we've cut off, we're just going round and putting them back on. I think I managed to keep the vast majority of them, so we should be good to get this nice and secure and working. There we go. Just realised I'm sticking my head in shot. One of that. Whether I get down to that one, that's a low one. Maybe we will, maybe we won't, but we'll give it a try. That's what it's about. That's all the lines are getting to know each other. Look at that. Don't get too familiar. You can stay at your own side. This is your big brother here. So, got a grey one there. So let's see if we've got a grey peg to stick on here. I know what you're all thinking. What amazing viewing this is. Can't wait for part 2. On part 2, I've got something special planned. We're going to sit and watch some paint dry. And after that, maybe some grass growing. So, yeah. We'll see how it goes. Pushing some of that down into the little hole. So it makes contact with the original peg to anchor it down. And again, we'll just get a bit of splatter on top. This is certainly one of these where it's just the time-consuming element to get it all done. Run out of grey, so I'm going to start mixing and using a bit of the black ones as well, just to finish some of these top ones off. So those are the top and bottom ones done. I'm going to try and attempt to get some of these side ones done. These are going to be extremely tricky because of where they are, and I don't want to be melting the side case. So these are going to be a little bit more awkward, but we'll get them down. We'll get them on. And using such a precision tool like this, you don't work to treat with the tongue out. See if we can get some of these side ones in as well. Oh, that's got on superb. Absolutely wonderful. Ouch. You forget how bad old tools are. The heat transfer into the handle is quite, because it's on constantly, it's quite difficult to handle over time. It's certainly picking up the heat and moving it up, and my poor little hands are taking the brunt of it, but I'm a big boy. I know these were a bit hard ones. Put them down there because there's one there where it can. Try and get into that tiny space there. Oh, it's like holding the sun, this solder iron. It's getting that warm now. I think there's one there we can push through also. Yep, there is. Tacked on. So the plan is more live streams to try and get a little bit of interaction with the massive followers and people, but in the outside world, really. That's the idea. So yeah, looking for some ideas, some inspiration, something to do on maybe the live streams, and interact a little bit more with the community, see who's out there, see who can help, and probably just go on this learning journey with me to see if we can teach me a few new skills, glean some experience, glean some education from the vast array of people out there. There have been a couple of streamers which have been extremely helpful with me. One of them being James at JFix, unashamedly JFix. So check him out on YouTube. Really good guy. Knows his stuff, and does everything from laptops to different projects and things like that. So have a check with James, and obviously Tony at Symboltech, SYMBOLTECH, has helped me out tremendously. If you've caught any of my other streams, you'll notice that I've been using a short detection tool that Tony has designed from the ground up and made, and it's a phenomenal piece of kit. Unfortunately, I haven't quite got to the grasp of using it correctly as yet, but I have seen Tony using it, and it's an amazing piece of kit. So certainly big thanks to those two guys. They've been invaluable so far in my learning journey, and helping me get everything sorted out, from using OBS, which is the software which is used on YouTube to stream, to tag all the cameras in, screen captures, audio, thermal camera, microscope, and everything else, to just helping with other things like banners and so on. So we are good to go on there. I'm just going to move this soldering iron out of the way because plastic fumes are always pleasant to breathe in. We're going to stick that over there to cool down a little. Should we turn it over and see if we've put it in the right way? There we go, and it's all looking like it should. Yeah, nice and firm. Everything as it should be. And they've still got the mark in the centre of the keyboard, but can't really see it. It's just between there. It's only a slight mark, but it looks like there's a stain on the plastic rather than anything else. So let's start the task of reassembly. I think this was the first thing or last thing which came out, so first thing to go in. Just give that a quick dust off. Put that back in the place that it sits. Which I think is that way. And there was a bracket which went over the top, if I remember correctly. And we had 4 screws, 3 of them being the same, 1 being slightly different. So let's just see if we can see the slightly different one, which is that one I've got in my hand. And that one went in there like so. That one there. I've been contemplating the LTT screwdriver kit, the Linus Tech Tip ones. If anybody's got one of those, let me know what you think of it. I have been I've been thinking about one of those. Not that there's anything wrong with the one I've got, but I'm a sucker for marketing. So on this cable, don't know if you can see, it says TP and motherboard. If we can, if it will focus, very much doubt it. But we obviously have a touch panel, which is this, and then motherboard side there. So purple side up, contacts to the bottom on this. Simply pop it in until it won't go any further. Nice and gentle, never force anything. And then you'll see that it goes up to the black line on there. So that's that bit done. So we should have 3 screws going across the top of this touchpad to hold that in, which are these 3 here. Slightly wider header screws just to help it locate and hold down. 1, 2. Answers on a postcard to what comes next. Number 3, I would say. Number 3. Yeah, all clicking, all working. All seem fine. I believe what came out next was I want to say keyboard came out next. I'm just going to double check because I did take a quick snap of it just to check which one did come out first. So we will I will just have a look. Yeah, it was the screen and then the key, and then the motherboard, and then the speakers, which came out slightly different order to some of the other devices. But we'll get this put back like it was. This is one of the 360-degree ones, so I just need to snip those off or shave them down a little bit, because those are the locating pins for the hinge. So the ones where we thought HP had been really nice to us, well, that was a rookie error, wasn't it? Those are the locating pins for that, so we'll just shave them down a little bit. There we go. And now we'll just push these into place like so. What you get on these, so you know where the screws go, you've got little triangles or arrows. So you got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So all 6 screws will just sit in there, and they go in there really nice. So we'll just get one put in the hole. Just get that tightened down slightly. Number 2, not all the way, just to nip it up, just to give it some tension until we've got them all aligned. Same on this side. We'll just give it a nip down. Tell you what we do need to do before we go any further. I do need to put the DC port in, because I do remember that needed. So everyone's screaming at me, you've not put the DC port in, you chicken nugget. I did listen to you, and I thought I would just test you. There we go. And we now can screw it back down. So again, we'll just put some tension in them just to get it all nice. Give it a quick wiggle just to do that, and then just tighten down. Don't over tighten these, they just need to be nipped up to have a bit of tension on. Don't over tighten them, because I have replaced, or mended should I say, quite a few screen and keyboard side where this goes. There's a copper insert in here, brass insert with a thread on. What screws down, it's same under here, and it's just kind of plastic. The items heated up and inserted into the plastic there. And you get them all over, but on the hinges and certainly on the screens, they do fail an awful lot. And one of the reasons is the screens tend to be so tight. So that's the thing with that. So next thing to go in is the computer itself. So what we're going to do with this one, we're going to pop the heatsink off. We're going to give the heatsink a little bit of a clean, and we're going to just clean up the residue there. Might as well, whilst we've got it out, new thermal paste, new thermal compound, and just give it its best chance at surviving a long and happy life. So again, I just like to take the tension off the screws all round prior to actually taking them out all the way. You'll notice the screws are actually numbered for when you come to screw them back on. There is some debate whether that's majorly important or not. My viewpoint is, you know, if manufacturers gone to the effort of doing that and figuring out which ones you need to screw together or which ones you don't, for the sake of putting them down and doing it, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you just follow their lead and do it? They certainly know more than I do. So that's what I would say with that. Fan wise needs a little bit of a clean up, so we'll just put a smaller head in. One tiny screw there. Tiny screw there. Number 3. For the clever people, number 4. So hoping that now will just simply come apart. Bit of tape on there holding it on. Oh, there we go. Just like that, and it comes off. Get my fan cleaning tool. Just a little portable hoover. It's just a little hoover. It is a little bit noisy, but it should mean I can clean this out with little or no fuss. So I do apologise about the noise. That side's all done. So that side, we're just going to give that a quick clean with the cleaner as well. This is just electrical contact cleaner. I find it helps to dissolve some more of the grease and grime and whatever these fans suck in over the years to do that. Nice fan, this one. 2 blade orientations to maximise the airflow and the pressure, so that's nice. This is electrical safe cleaner, so we're good to go on that. That'll just continue to to dry up a little bit as we're working. So we're going to change the thermal compound on here. Put some fresh thermal compound on. So we'll just clean the compound off the CPU and the chipset. There we go. And as they say, the perfect amount of thermal paste to apply. Less is definitely more with thermal compound. I like to spread it around once I've got it on, just to give it a nice even thing. Certainly on laptops, because laptops don't always work with the same amount of pressure as a desktop PC. So I just like to make sure there's a nice even amount just spread about and put on there. So as we can see, we've got a bit on there to do that. So we've got that. We're going to reassemble the fan now. It's had a couple of seconds just to dry off a little bit. And it is completely safe, this this spray. So you could actually spray it onto running electronics. I wouldn't recommend it, but it will do it. So we'll pop that one in there. Pop number 2 up here. Number 3, let's live while and put it in this hole. And number 4. Goes in that hole just up there. I do like these iFixit ones. The bearing on it does feel nice and smooth and works exceptionally well. So we can now put this on. Obviously it's only going to go one way, so we'll just line the holes up roughly, drop it down into position, untrap the cable for the fan, just make sure it's nicely located. Find number 1, which is this one here, half turn it just to give us a grip. Number 2, number 3, and you guessed it, number 4. Number 5 is here. Go, it's now located, and number 6 is there. So we've just nipped them all up, but we've not tightened them, so we'll now go and tighten. Now the rule with this is, again, I tend to use the rule of making sure that they are nipped up and tight so they won't turn anymore. Tighten them all down carefully, keeping the screwdriver vertical because you don't want it to pop out. Popping that one in and then just going back over. I like to hold the bit at the bottom so it won't come out. 3, and just giving them a final quick tighten just with that, just holding it at the bottom. The reason I do this is because you do see some YouTubers giving it one of these, or inexperienced people. They do that and slip and they suddenly knock off a dozen components or a big scratch or whatever over the board. So it's generally a little late when you've got to that. So it's just nice and convenient just to hold the bottom of the screwdriver bit to do that. So let's just get that in place just there. Stick that back down. Fan's running nice and smoothly. I have seen on some laptops, because they flex that much when you pick the laptop up, it's actually bent the metal shroud on the fan, and the fan will show as a fan error, which is never good. But it's the sign of some poorer quality laptops, let's say, where manufacturers are cutting back so much they are they're getting round and not even putting the right amount of structure in place. I did this bit off camera when I was taking it to pieces before, so we're just going to see if I can just get it offered up, making sure I'm not trapping any cables which should be coming through. Those are up there. I would say that this side goes in first because this is where the audio jacks and everything is. I'm just going to trim that a little bit. There we go. This is that's just a bit of the protective bit which I did earlier. Kapton tape just to cover that up, just make sure it is electrically safe. I did see something the other day where somebody was putting aluminium tape, as we say in the UK, on something like this to protect it from electrical shocks, which I found interesting. Why you would put aluminium tape on a steel part to stop it shorting is beyond me, but I'm sure there was a valid reason. So one more bit of Capiton tape, and we should be good to go. There we go. Again, we'll put this this side in first, because this is where that's where they're going, which is there. A little bit of there we go. That goes on there like so. That goes on there. Everything seems fine. We'll just drag the keyboard cables out, because we don't want them underneath, we want them on top. Might use that little bit of tape I had earlier. Just to hold those down a second. Don't look the prettiest, but it's only going to be there for a second or two. There we go, locating pins in, that's in, that's in. Anybody think I've done this before? Rightio. We just need to pop some screws in the motherboard. So again, with the motherboard, if we look, there should be arrows to where you can put the screws in. Triangles, arrows, whatever you want to call it. So we'll pop those in there like so. There's another one down here. There's another one right near it. And we should have one more screw left, which goes in that hole just there. Got a little bit of a daughter board here that we, this is for the SD card. Which is, I'm just going to give that a quick spray of cleaner. It's got more fluff and whatnot in than my childhood teddy bear, that. Bit of quick blow. I don't think it's ever been used, or certainly not been used in a lot of years. And that will, so let's just lift that screw, because I think that probably goes down underneath. This is a good example of, I'll remember where that goes, and then you do it 3 days later and you can't even remember your name, let alone where a screw goes. So this is where pictures become invaluable, just in case. Because as much as we think we'll remember, we don't always remember. Tap on that as well. This will enable us just to lift it a little bit and locate it on the correct pins, which is that pin there. And there was a couple of screws which went in here, which were these. Oops, not that silver one, that was for the main board. It's a stuck magnetic screwdriver. One, and again, you guessed it, number two. Just hold that in place. And this should pop that down. That out and ready to plug in. Let's put these motherboard screws back in. Nothing else trapped. sure there's a YouTube video of somebody doing this in about 3.5 minutes. I don't know if that's a speed run or... I don't know really. But certainly for me, it's not a 3.5 minute job. We have some screws in the fan. These are M24s, which last board screw goes up here. Fan, fan, fan. Should have a little that was a case, so one of those. I think it was that one which came out of there. Okay, that's that down there. Speakers now. Stereophonic speakers. Woohoo! You got left and right. If I knew the difference, it'd be wonderful. That needs to go under there and over there. So let's just pop this heatsink off because I'm going to put it in the wrong place. Did this on purpose for all you keen aficionados out there to say, "Ah, he's done that wrong." As the weeks go on, I won't be testing you like this. I won't be giving you the answers once I've done it wrong. You'll have to spot these things for yourself. At the moment, it's just giving me more practice. Put those 3 screws there. There we go, here we go. So that one goes in there like so. Well, hey, we found all screws. We were looking for those. Wonder where those had gone. So we'll get a screw in here, just to hold it down a little bit. A screw in there, because those have got the arrows on, so we know where the screws go. Just tighten them down a little. Same with that. Before I put that on, I'm just going to try and feed this cable to where it does go, which is in that hole there and in there. Back up and round, back up and down. Back up and round, back up and down. It's like there's a glitch in the matrix. screwdriver and screw. Nip that down so it's not too tight. Same with that, same with that, same with that. We want them down, but we don't want them so Superman can't even undo them. That goes in there. Done this before. That goes in there. Release that cable. Those are not getting trapped, so we're okay. Are you sure you've done it right this time? I'm sure, boss. Put these screws back in. I'll be wearing heads out on these, put them in anymore. That one down. That one down. That one over here. So again, just holding the base as I'm nipping those up, just in case the screwdriver slips. Get the tweezers to help that in. Plug the stereophonic speakers back in. And let's get the perfect amount of thermal paste like before. It did spread out really well before with the dye. I've just seen, so it should. Something a little bit satisfying with getting that neat and tidy. Get this on the right way again. Drop it into position. Number 1 nipped up, number 2 nipped up, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6. So I'll just repeat that again. Hold at the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. I know, just to see if you're awake. I'd love to say this is a quick stream. It's anything other. Next, take that tape off there. Get our keyboard plugged in. Plug that into there. Get our illumination one plugged in. Our backlight. Again, if you're struggling with this, stick your tongue out. It's a lot easier. Concentrate, hold your breath. Grit your teeth, squint your eyes. It all helps. That one's done. This is your display. So we certainly need that. Otherwise we won't have a picture. We have picture. There we go. As the great Soren would say. Click, click, clunk, click every drip. That one did stick down there. We're going to attempt getting these on. These are the Wi-Fi antennas. Really important with the Wi-Fi antennas is not to force them. When they're in the right position, they will go down. If they're not in the right position, they won't, strangely enough, but people do tend to force them. So it is just a case of being a little bit careful with them. The cable in there. Oh, it looks like that goes on the outside. No, that weren't quite in. And I tried to shove it down. There we go. No. Just to prove me wrong, I did say they were a little bit awkward. Get me a little spudger, this might help. Because you can feel it. If it's locating correctly, you can feel it going in with this. Nice, solid clunk click. Hold that on there and just feed that cable back into the channel it's supposed to go in, which is there. I would imagine this is for the touch or for the webcam or the microphone or the light sensor, or maybe even all of them. Lines match up. Position that where it should go, which is around that stress relief, just there. There we go. Look at that, as if by design. So we've got a screw there where we should go. We've got a screw to go in up there. We need a screw in our Wi-Fi card to hold that down, because we don't want that going for a walk, do we? We need the fan screws back in, because we all know if we don't put the fan screws back in, it will rattle. So again, not overly tight with that. Just double check those, because they're important ones. One in there. One in there. And one in there. Now that to me is starting to look like a job well done. Put the M2 drive in. Goes in that slot there. We'll put the bits and bobs on there. Just giving everything a quick visual check to make sure I've got everything plugged in. All the cables are connected. That'll be the connection point if it had a hard disk, SSD, something similar. So the only thing that I can see is left to plug in is the DC port. Whew. All looking good to me. That's good. We've got a current draw, 0.83. With it being battery disconnected, it will take a few moments for it to come up and load. Yep, and it's basically saying to me are we going to utter the immortal words? We have picture. Look at that. The great Soren. We have a picture. The question is the password, is the keyboard working? Well, it looks to be working to me, so I can't see any issues with that at all. It has a password on here, so I can't actually test it, but as it is at the moment, it does seem to be fully functional. It is posting, it is working, the mouse is working, the clicks are working, the Wi-Fi is working. So I think that's a successful keyboard swap. We'll shut it down, we'll put the battery in, and we'll just see if it's drawing current with the battery in, just to make sure it's all working with that. So we'll flatten that down a little bit. We will. I'm not that keen on where that connector goes. I wonder if that goes over the top. No, it doesn't, does it? Yeah, I don't like how that fastens right next to. I don't know if you can see this, but that's the keyboard, and that's where the battery screws down, right next to it. I wonder if that's what's caused the issue before with the battery going down and crushing it over time. Yeah, not overly keen on that, but hey, Mr. HP. One. The battery in this is swollen, so a replacement battery is required. So yeah, aware of that. Just want to just get it working as it is, and I'll look at getting one of those sorted as well and seeing where it goes to from there. Yeah, I'm not that keen on that at all, but I suppose it is what it is with that. So there's a couple of missing screws which I'll dig out of my little screw box. So we'll just pop that back down there, pop that back on, and we just look and see if we've got a charge current. Oh, look at that straight away, 2.33 amps. So we've got some nice current there, and the laptop turning on because obviously we've had the battery disconnected. So we will just make sure it comes back on. We have a light. That's crazy. And the battery is charging. So close that down. Find a couple of screws for the battery at the back, just to make sure we've got some. That one there, and we just need one more replacement screw to go in there. Okay, I've just popped a couple of more screws in there just so I know I've got the correct ones, and I'm just going to go and see if it does all go back together and we still have a picture. It was coming up with a Windows login screen, so and the keyboard was working fine, so we will do that and test it to make sure everything is hunky and dory. Magnets are wonderful things in the right place. Oh, look at that. How did that MOSFET get in there? Put that in my spares box. What I normally do is move that out of the way and then knock it over later and end up with loads of different bits and bobs. Clip the case on. I think it's had a bit of a life. This there's a bit of a dint on the case there. Looks like when somebody's been trying to open it in the past, they've decided to take a screwdriver to it rather than not. So So we'll get the 3 larger screws in the top. Again, just nip down. There's already one located in there, probably didn't come out before. That's 1. 2, 3. Well, it's a bit like Sesame Street, I'm learning to count. 4. Put the snaky tape back over. Nothing in those. Never quite goes down the same. It does stretch a little when you take it off. So it just needs a bit of a cosmetic tweak at the end. There we go. Just to make it look neat. Change the bit because these are smaller headed. The final 3 down here. The reason why they're final headed is because they are different heads altogether. So find it's a magnetic sensor in there. That one there. I'm not going to count on this one. A, B, C. Get this progressed onto the alphabet out. Give the lid a bit of a wipe down. Underneath, a little bit of a wipe down. Let's plug that in. Fans are spinning. We have picture. And we're back straight away to the beautiful lighthouse login screen and keyboard still working. So that is a repair, a keyboard replacement. We've gone from an unworking keyboard, fully cut out and replaced, and it all rebuilt and working. And again, the model on here is the HP x360 NV convertible, and it's the 15BP007NA. Please like and subscribe if you've enjoyed it. And if you've not liked and subscribed, please, or if you've not enjoyed it, please let me know what you fancy seeing, and I will attempt to do other varied tasks. But a bit of a tricky one today, a bit of a time consuming one, but at least it's back up and running and a successful repair at that. We all like a little bit of success. So have a good day or evening, guys and gals, wherever you may be, and we will catch up very, very soon. See you again.